Hi everyone, it's Cherry Enchantress. I'm here with another pick a card. This one, the cards are in envelopes, okay? And with each envelope is a bag of charms instead of just pouring the charms in. I have specific charms. Oh, the charms sound different in every bag. Maybe go by charm sounds. I don't know. Or go choose by color. Anyway, we have beige, white, orange, red, and blue. And this reading is all going to be all about, it's also presented to you. It's also a suggested reading by San Min, and it's all about what fairy tale couple is your relationship most like. So this can be, in the general sense, it can be for twin flames, it could be for soulmates, it could be for crushes, maybe. But I'm going to take kind of a deep look at it. Look at the dynamic between the couples. Look at the objective and the lessons learned in each relationship, in each fairy tale relationship. I'm going to focus on Disney characters and Disney stories, the way that these fairy tales are portrayed in the Disney movies a little bit more carefully because there's so many variations of certain fairy tales out there. It's easier just to focus on a specific one, and we're going to go with Disney, and since I have Disney charms and everything, I think that will work out the best. Okay, you guys, so what Disney fairy tale couple does your relationship most resemble? And let's see if we can get any lessons learned from the relationship, from the charms, from the cards that come out. So we're going to call this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 beige, 2 white, 3 orange, 4 red, and 5 blue. Okay, so you can choose by color, you can choose by number, you can choose by timestamp, any other method, like which one's hottest. This one's going to feel a little warm because of the sun beaming on it. All right, and now just take a deep breath in. Close your eyes, release your breath, and let your eyes open. And as they open, feel your heart be drawn to the pile that's meant for you. Now, you definitely can pick more than one if you feel like you might be a combination of stories. Also, if you are in a same-sex relationship, try to see yourself. I know we don't have any same-sex symbols out there in fairy tales, but definitely, no matter what your relationship is, you're always going to have one that resonates stronger with the masculine and one that resonates stronger with the feminine. So try to be loose about that if you can. And I apologize if that kind of goes against your circumstances a little bit. But it's not, that's the thing about these readings. I feel like surface issues like your sex and your body and those kinds of things are not quite as important as the messages, the spiritual messages, and the life lessons learned between couples and what each person represents and how they interact with each other and what they learn from each other. The relationship is about relating to each other and what you learn from each other, and not as much as about your physical appearance and your physical desires, right? That's part of the dating factors out there in the real world. But I want us here to elevate a little bit above that surface level and go into the real core issues of who we are in our hearts and where we need to go within our relationships and what lessons we need to learn individually and as a couple. Okay? Okay, so that being said, let's begin. All right, you have number 1. What's you doing there? let's see what cards that you have in your envelope. All right, so first of all, we have Renee, she who hopes, love, hope, and relationships. And here is the depiction of a princess and the frog. So right away we're getting frog princess vibes. Now in the traditional story, the princess is the princess and the frog is a prince in disguise, and she has to kiss him to change him. There's a lot of variations on that, but what's wonderful about the Disney story is that both characters get to go through an evolution. So let's see what else we can find out about the frog princess. So the emperor makes me think of Naveen, where he is doing fine. He's rich, he's wealthy, he's happy in his luxury, but that feeling comfort in his luxury is going to be challenged because of his inheritance, and so it makes him have to assess his life differently. Also, there's a lot of arcing themes in every single story. One has to do with dreams, one has to do with like this kind of star energy, this extra energy that kind of runs through a lot of these fairy tales. The star energy here represents kind of a goddess or a spirit energy outside, like a divine influence that sort of connects with this couple. It's like another couple that connects with this couple within the same story. And the star represents some kind of a specific hope and a destined kind of thing. So when I'm seeing the emperor here, I'm seeing that no matter what happens to him, rich or poor, he's always going to be the emperor. He is the divine masculine, and that will never change. He is divine. Okay. Then we have the lilies. So the lilies show the frog, and I'm going to tell you a little about this story just a minute. I'll show you this. You get the Disney couple of the frog princess. You also have a healing connection. Your romance will transform your life. And a perfect match. You complete each other in every way. There's this message here that there's no worries. This is worry-free. Now, Tiana, she has sort of interesting philosophy when she starts off her journey in the Disney movie, where she believes she has to work very hard. In order to get anything you want, you have to work hard. Well, a couple of her and she likes to say things like, or she's saying things like, do your best each and every day, good things will come your way. Almost there. Like she's always striving and trying to achieve that goal, those goals, and focusing on her goals. And she also believes that fairy tales can come true, but you got to make them happen. It all depends on you. So she believes in these dreams. She believes in making these efforts and believes in happily ever after in the outcomes. But she also is practical. She is like a Virgo, like she's a practical fairy queen, you know. She believes in putting in the work. So she kind of represents our Snow White, since our Snow White's not here. But yeah, but ultimately what they do for each other is by being on the same level and going through this journey together, seeing each other as equals, then they can see within each other what each other is missing. So Tiana is all about the hard work and the focus and the drive, and he starts off kind of just wanting to be lazy and spoiled and not work hard and just have things just be given to him. But she teaches him, you know, to overcome these things. And then he teaches her to learn how to find fun in moments, and to laugh and enjoy life and not be so serious all the time. So I feel like some of you out there maybe having this a similar kind of connection where your qualities balance each other out so amazingly, and you're meant for each other because of that. You're a perfect match because you balance each other out. Yeah, and what's great about like this movie and a couple of others that I picked really good ones actually. I picked the couples that are very balanced. Like, this is not just about a princess. This is about Naveen too, like his growth too through the movie, and their growth together in a relationship, because that's a big part of what that's a big part of well, that's the important part of any kind of relationship, twin flame, situationship, whatever. It's the relating to each other, right? It's how you grow from knowing each other. So let me tell you a little bit about the lilies. The lilies represents maturity and other things, but I'm going to tell you what the fairy tale story is. It also represents contentment and harmony and purity. For the lilies, we feature the frog prince. He will sit on this pond or pad until his true love sees him for something other than a frog. For now, he's content to wait for that moment. He must learn to find harmony and peace in the purity of a heartfelt kiss. Lilies is a card that changes meanings with cards around it. It brings a knowledge that tranquility is at hand. You can also find older people in this card because it's representative of age and wisdom that comes with it. I think it's also interesting that, well, I did a little research on all of these movies, and in this one in particular, it was a challenging movie. Disney hadn't done a movie, a fairy movie, a princess movie in a while, and they want to modernize it. There's a lot of different subject matter, and they actually consulted Oprah Winfrey. So it's kind of interesting, you know, there is a wisdom there, and maybe she represents the star, which also represents Aquarius, which is their sign. That side note. But anyway, there is like that extra force here. You can feel it throughout the whole storyline. There's a dark force and a light force. There's people getting to know each other and people growing by getting to know each other. So the root of the lily sinks deep into the water, and that reminds you of your own ancestral roots as well. It can be also represent legal matters, you know. The frog prince broke the law of the land by being unkind to the old woman who was a witch in disguise, and sensuality can be the energy of this card if it is close to one of the person cards in the Lenormand. Lilies is a card that modifies other cards with a gentle touch. So we're letting lilies stand alone here. And we're, you know, going to go with the Disney story, although there's a lot of variations on this. A lot. Like the German variation is really interesting too. And the qualities of frogs too can be sort of not an aphrodisiac, but kind of can be sort of like a drug kind of inducing quality too. So frogs have interesting symbology in that respect. It's about age, it's also about innocence, it's about sexuality, and also about purity. So there's a little bit of both here. And very likely, because I feel like Renee and the Frog Princess represents Virgos, it's very likely Naveen could represent Scorpios, the opposite, the sex energy. So that just kind of came out of the blue in my mind. All right, let's see now what the charms say. So it didn't have any Disney button charms for them, but... So, okay, you've got Cupcake, which she is all about working in a restaurant, creating her own creations, making something unique and special and sweet that represents her. That's why she believes in the hard work. And no matter what happens, she's always going to be this person that will put effort into things. She won't take the easy way. You've got the ring, so I think for you guys, the ultimate commitment will be marriage. Probably, possibly. I feel like with the top hat, it is like reflecting on ancestors. And with the tiara, it represents that whether you're born a princess or you are, you know, you marry into it or you grow into it, you grow into your divine self. It's always in you. Another arcing theme through all of these fairy tales is about destiny. If it's meant to happen, it will happen. That things that seemingly seem like blocks eventually do get cleared away, or there's some way around it. So kisses are always important. There's a lot of love here, a lot of intelligent ideas. There is the star that represents the divine and hope and dreams coming true. And wishes, you know, wishes are a kind of a way of manifesting. It's a word used to represent manifesting in, I think, fairy tales. The sewing machine to me represents creativity and working hard. The clover, the 4-leaf clover, means good luck, though. Like there is a lot that can come to you through hard work, but sometimes it also takes like being at the right place at the right time and certain magic to happen. But definitely keep putting in the effort. Putting in that effort. I feel like you specifically are going to get some good luck in your situation. And here we have a bunch of frogs, which represent luck, you know. Frogs also represent luck, and in feng shui, it's great to have frogs in I think it's the southeast part of your garden will bring you money and luck. So definitely get some frogs. And look, you guys are soulmates, and you might have a French connection or even a Louisiana or New Orleans type connection. And then remember, after the faith and the trust comes the pixie dust. So Tinkerbell is here to give you all that you desire. I feel like eventually whoever chose this pile will feel established in their relationship, will have a commitment, will have the sweet life. And you might want to try some ancestral healing if you don't already do that. That also, you're healing just by being together. You're healing your ancestral line. So that's beautiful. Really good work here. All right. Well, I hope you like that. Thumbs up if you like that. Feel free to comment below. Subscribe if you're new, and if you're not, thank you for being here again. I'm going to move on to the next. All right, and here's pile number 2, the white pile. Let's see what Disney couple you resemble most. So we have Pearl, she who rises up, empower, uplift, elevate. So let's see more about this, but this is about a feminine character who takes charge of her own life and doesn't depend on the prince. So a lot of times in Disney movies, and I didn't choose any of those, like Cinderella and Snow White, the other character, the masculine, doesn't play a very big role. They're just sort of there as the prize or something, you know, which is not very fair. But there are other Disney movies where the masculine and feminine have an equal energy and an equal storyline and an equal journey and learning experience and healing experience. So let's see what else. So we got the Tower. So in your situation, something is going to happen that where something needs to be taken down in order to be rebuilt on solid ground, because what it's on right now is not exactly solid. It's a little shaky, and the tower can never stand tall and straight and last a long time if it's on shaky ground. Eventually, whether it's an act of natural disaster, fate, outside forces or not, eventually this will have to be, destroyed and rebuilt, or nature will take its course. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what happens with the tower. And then you have the Prince of Pentacles. The Prince of Pentacles, I didn't get the 2 on the other card, but that's okay. The Prince of Pentacles represents this, it's like this masculine energy that feels called to something. In this case, that's what I'm seeing. Like Flynn in the story Tangled, okay? Flynn in Tangled has a certain call, a certain direction, a certain thing certain agenda, and a certain strategy, which are all very kind of 3D ways of looking at life. Going by ways of manipulation instead of true heart. But and he's on the Pentacles here is kind of like a focus on the material, right? So he's on a journey trying to achieve some kind of material wealth. And then the Tower in the Lenormand, though, let's go ahead and put them down since now we kind of know who this is. Also, what's so cool about Tangled, titling it Tangled instead of Rapunzel gives the story room to allow for Flynn's character to represent an important part in the story. Like, he's not, and when I did the research on this, it's really interesting. Disney wanted to really know, like, what qualities women find most attractive in a man, physically and charisma wise and everything. And so they really try to wrap it all up in this character of Flynn, like his good looks and his personality's charm and his humor and his general suave rogue kind of I want to say I don't want to say that word, but this kind of like, not gangster, but just kind of like something like bad boy we find attractive a little bit. Scoundrel, it's kind of like, he reminds me a little of Han Solo, the kind of scoundrel, the guy who gambles and takes risks and tries to win money and does all these little things, and he's very charming and smooth and stuff. So Flynn's initial character starts off that way, is presented that way, but he also represents a lot of qualities that girls, in general, females find attractive. Anyway, here we have the Tower. I'm going to read about that in a minute. But you also have real feelings. You share true romantic feelings worth exploring. And you're on a spiritual soul path, a personal evolution within your relationship. So what's cool is, like I was saying, here's another example where both characters are very important. And the research that I did, the person, I might link that link down below because it's really interesting. She was suggesting that this story really is more about Flynn than it is about Rapunzel. It's almost like Rapunzel is his healing balm, like her coming into his life changes him, and that's true. Him coming into her life, not really, because she already had made the decision to leave the tower before he arrived. He sort of gives her some protection, but so it is it's a little bit of, you know, the strength card where you have the guidance and the protection. Like the strength card shows, um, you know, I see Rapunzel as a light. She's like a flashlight. She's a guiding light. She glows all the time. Her hair glows. Everything about her glows. And there's always, you know, there's the lanterns, which is why she goes on this quest in the first place, to figure out what those lanterns are about, those lights. And so that's an energy that's really strong in this relationship and in the story, this light. And then Flynn's energy is more like the protector. I'll protect you if you show me the way, kind of thing. So that's kind of the energy here. For you guys, only time will tell. There's a very strong divine timing here, but you might be taking a trip together, or this is just trip just represents a whole journey. That's what you're on. You're on this journey together. All right, so let me tell you about the tower from the Fairytale Lenormand. So this talks about, in a general sense, it's about corporations and large buildings and restrictions and bureaucracy. Rapunzel is the tale of the young woman trapped in the tower. Here's another story that has so many variations, and I remember as a little girl, it was one of my favorites. And so one of the strongest variations is that I read was at the very end. It made me very sad that the prince became blind. He poked his eyes out with the bramble bushes because he was looking for Rapunzel. Rapunzel cuts her hair in order to save the prince, and then at the same time the prince, it's like they go through a lot of obstacles, you know. They make sacrifices for each other. They always are trying to get to each other, you know. That the traditional story of Rapunzel is about them always like trying to find their way to each other. There's all these, in every variation of the story, the bottom line is they are destined to be together, no matter who comes between them or what are their circumstances that get in the way. So I think that's a beautiful message. And the other message that I thought is really beautiful from the older stories is that her tears, when she cries over her prince, they heal his eyes that were blind. And so after that, then, you know, they're about to continue on in their journey. What is so cool that I didn't realize is that Rapunzel, or Tangled, has a series, I guess a Disney series. So both with Tangled and with the Frog Princess, I saw both of those movies in the theater. I don't know if I saw Tangled in the theater, but I'm pretty sure I saw both of these movies in the theater. But with all the other Disney movies in the 90s, I saw them in the theater. Then we bought them, we definitely bought them and watched them a million times with the kids. But I didn't have any kids during these, you know, during this period of Tangled and on. And so, or I guess the next one was actually after the 5-year span. The next one was the Frog Princess, and then Tangled came along. And so I don't have that repetition to have that story just kind of etched in my brain or whatever. But what I think is so cool is I might just for fun is watch that series, because it sounded like, I mean, the research I did on it sounded like it's really, really good series. And that how all these fairy tales end is in this kind of like happily ever after, get married, and that's it. Like, marriage is such a happily ever after. But honestly, you know, what most of these princesses desire is adventure. They want to go out into the, you know, unknown, explore and see things and do things. And so they find their adventure within their story. But what's great about Rapunzel, she finds her adventure beyond her story. So you'll see Tangled, the series, I guess, I don't know much about it, but the series has them adventuring together and still learning and growing more about each other every day. And I hear that he proposes and she says no, and so they adventure together. And he, he's determined to win her, and she's determined to learn all about everything that she doesn't know about, like just really explore. So I think that's a really cool message here too. And I think that resembles a lot of the twin flame, relationship, because we focus so much on the union, but we don't. A lot of times we forget that this is the journey is just as important, if not more important, and smelling the roses along the way, and all those steps in between, like and being present in all the moments, present in the now. Those are important. So I feel like that's going to be part of your fairy tale here. So yeah, the towers can be about restrictions, rules, and regulations of the land, and that could keep you, like with Rapunzel, she wanted to take care of her kingdom, and she had certain things that she wanted to do, but there's also things beyond her kingdom that she wanted to explore. And so therefore so it's kind of cool, like suddenly I like Rapunzel a lot. So in the main movie, she is looking for what those lights represent, and she finds out, she finds out what the lights are all about. And so Rapunzel's all about venturing outside your comfort zone, and the rewards are worth it. And Flynn tells her that once she got her goal, like she's like, so what do I do now? I found out what these lights are, and now I don't know what to do next. And he's like, what's cool about that? The good part is, you get to find a new dream. So she answered one dream, and she is able to now focus on a new dream. And that's it, like we can have many dreams, and we achieve one goal, and then we can set another goal for ourselves and keep going, or we can achieve all the dreams that we want to achieve. But it's not really necessarily always about the goal. You see how she found her goal, and then she was like, okay, now what do I do? So really it is about the journey. Like, how much fun did she have on that journey? Like she faced danger, but she also faced a lot of thrills, and she became connected and fell in love with Flynn. So think about that, So and then the second thing that I find so cool about this is once she reached her happily ever after, whatever, he wants to propose to her, and they want to live in the castle with her parents and rule the country, rule the land or whatever. It's almost like she's back into a tower again. Now she's back into this limited, restricted place again, and where she wanted adventure. So I see here in this, whoever picked this pile, a very, very independent, adventurous feminine, and a masculine who's totally by her side, totally with her on this adventure, but also he might be actually a little bit more romantic and a little bit more practical. But anyway, they have a lot of lessons that they learn from each other. And in the end, their story will end up that they're destined to be together, no matter what gets in the way, no matter what they do. It's all about this spiritual soul path. So yeah, in one of the main stories, one of the old Grimm stories, Rapunzel's punishment is kind of connected to legal proceedings, because the father broke the rules by sneaking her into the garden. Dealing with bureaucracies can be a nightmare of red tape, but if her parent had asked instead of taken, Rapunzel might have not been imprisoned in the tower, and she had to get involved to save herself. So you can expect that when the tower shows up, you must take matters into your own hands. So this has to do with lawyers and corporate chiefs and military top brass, and there's going to be warnings to play by the rules, also look for helpful people nearby. There could be red tape or things that get in the way. And it's interesting too because this story, when I first heard it, was when I was a little girl growing up in Germany. And so that it's some of these fairy tales take on the culture that they're birthed in, right? So Germans always really believed in, working hard, just like the Frog Princess too was a German story, and this one too is about not breaking the rules, following the rules. So those are some kind of like 3D things that get in the way sometimes. Sometimes karmics can get in the way, but sometimes the karmic is not a person. It's those 3D laws that we always are living by, that are programmed in our minds and kind of restrict us. Okay, so now let's see what the charms have to say. Let's see. Okay. All right, so let's see. So I feel like Bruce Springsteen sort of represents the divine masculine in Flynn and this sort of rock star, rugged, handsome, like the everyman type. So that's who you're kind of attracted to. This is a very unique Disney story. I think the Disney version of this story is really beautiful, and I feel like there's more to it. It's like there's no ending yet to your story. It continues, but there is this amazing growth and daily, there's this continual healing and growth and learning constantly, daily. There's this beautiful sun. Like there's a symbol, I think, in the Rapunzel movie that kind of looks like this, or she draws it. But anyway, it's about clarity and brightness, and she learns the truth of things, which is very important too. She is like a diamond, or like a cluster of light. She's so bright and beautiful, and that's her energy. She glows with, she has this very pure quality about her. When she steps out of the tower, she's never seen anything else. And so it's definitely being like having that learner's permit thing where you're seeing the world through eyes of wonder. And that's why she wants to keep going and not stop and stay in one place too long. She has an eyes of wonder. Like instead of living in the Eiffel Tower, she wants to go to France and visit it, and see it and climb it and look out the top and marvel at it, but not be stuck there. It makes me think of birds in cages too, because just down the street there's a neighbor that has a cage outside with birds in it. I'm thinking, those birds are outside in a cage. Like, what are they thinking? Like, what am I doing in a cage? I should be flying around where the other birds are flying around, Anyway, but all it takes is faith and trust, and then the pixie dust is coming in. So changes can happen, and newness, and sparks of inspiration. And I mean, this is kind of a wild card situation. Like anything can happen. There is divinity here too, though. This fairy tale has a beautiful side story too of a goddess and star. Yeah, you got the star here, and it's all about destiny. And I love the, like one of the older traditional versions dive off into a little bit of mythology, which is really cool. So you have all these amazing words: star, world, kiss, love, wish. Kisses are important in relationships. They seal the deal. They signify things. They change things a lot too, the dynamics of a situation. You got the key to each other's heart. And you have some more towers. You've got the Big Ben, which is another place to visit, but it could also represent something about divine timing. You got I Love Mother. Now, her mother, or whoever that lady was, not really her mother, had sort of mother instincts but didn't know what to do with them. You know, she used Rapunzel for her own benefit. And there's some moms, like even biological moms, that are not always the best moms. But think about just it. I think there's a tie, maybe a mother wound or or father wound, but there's could be some healing with mother relationships here for some of you out there, you know. And I think it's important to forgive, you know, no matter what, because moms don't always know the best thing to do in any certain, you know, they're learning and growing too. And so it's almost like you're learning and growing with them, and they're, you know, through their path as well. So here you have the unicorn, which represents the divine masculine. So Flynn definitely is the divine masculine, and he's, you know, showing his stuff. And then this one, it's like, not all who are lost, not all who wander are lost. It just because she wants to be out and about and adventure doesn't mean that she's lost, that she's uncertain. She just has a certain desire to seek, you know. She's a seeker. And she's brave. And then we have the throne, which represents divinity again, and the divine masculine and feminine. And it could also be cute reflection of the chair that she ties him up in. And then we have the scissors for cutting her hair, but that could also representing cutting other things, cutting cords that don't serve you. And then you have the balloon. This is like up and away, like the lanterns floating up with the lights. And stars, like a starry night, and light and sparkle and guidance, and what stars meaning hope and renewal, and just like the tears, renewed and healed, you know. So there is kind of this water energy too, that's sort of like a healing, renewing energy here. So yeah, a lot of beautiful symbology here, and I just feel like with you guys, your adventure is just begun. There's so much more going to happen, and you know, you most likely you will reach union too, or a particular conclusion, because that is definitely hinted in this story. And it's satisfying. That's what that girl was saying. It's satisfying. When I researched it, she's like, there's a satisfying feeling. And we're also looking for that world completion card, that satisfied feeling. But, you know, sometimes it takes a little bit longer for us to get there, you know, and we'll get there. So I hope you like that. Thumbs up if you like that. Feel free to comment below. If you're new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe. I have a lot more fun stuff like this in store. And pay attention to who you chose, because tomorrow I'm going to do a message from your person, and I'm going to use the same 5 couples, so you might be able to get a message from whoever you chose from this deck. And this one I wanted to keep a secret, but tomorrow will be out in the open for you. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next. All right, here's pile number 3. These are getting a little lengthy, but I just ramble a little bit. I got real excited about pile 2. All right, let's see what you have. Who is your fairy tale couple? Well, I'm just going to go ahead and pull this one out so we know right away. You've got Beauty and the Beast. Okay. So here we have She Who Yearns, Desiree, yearn, longing, pine for. Also, you know, Rapunzel has sort of a yearning too, always kind of seeking something. And and that's what they remind me of each other, because, well, you know, Rapunzel decides not to marry, or she decides not to settle down, because it's like the beginning of the Beauty and the Beast, where she's saying, I'm in a little town, but there's something more. You know, she seeks adventure, and that's the same adventure she reads about in books. So she's yearning for this adventure. And it seems like a lot of the feminines out there are seeking this adventure in the great wide somewhere, you know, a whole new world, and, you know, that beyond where we go. Like, but they don't want to do it alone. They want to do it with their perfect counterpart, their companion. All right, and let's see. Then we have the Ten of Hearts. So definitely a beautiful love story here in the works that will turn into a happily ever after. Interesting, have the little old lady here. She could represent, like, I know this represents family and can represent ancestry, but like every fairy tale couple, there's this kind of a star card. There's this mystery goddess. There's this extra energy, and then there's also the sidekicks. So everybody has sort of a sidekick, and everybody has sort of this. I forgot to mention her sidekick. Oh well. And everybody has like their spirit energy. And in the Beauty and the Beast, it's the Enchantress. So the Enchantress has always kind of inspired me, hence I'm Cherry Enchantress. But her role and her guidance in this connection is kind of what helps bring them happily ever after. Now it's interesting. So many of the Disney movies end with like marriage being the happily ever after, or union. And yeah, we're striving for union. But a lot of the times it's more, it's just as important to focus on the journey along the way, on all the different steps along the way that you take, on the healing and the growing and the learning as well. And so some of you, I'm just getting this energy, some of you might be in between pile 2 and pile 3 here, like vibing with both energies, like almost as if you ended up in pile 3 and you have the transformation, everything has come together, your beast is healed and you're healed, and or the other way around, and now you can live happily ever after in his castle. But what is there still something more? Is there something more? Is there the next dream? I love how Rapunzel represents the next dream that you can achieve. All right, so but anyway, that's at least the first goal, is to get to the union and the stability and the family life. And here's strength. This represents the Beauty and the Beast dynamic and what they mean to each other. Like, she is the light to him and the guidance and the peace, and he is the strength. And I sense that also in Rapunzel. So there's a lot of similarities to me, because Rapunzel is the light, and I think she also no, she's not really a tour guide. He's the tour guide because he knows the land, but she's the light, and she has the enthusiasm and the energy, and he gives her the protection that she needs. And so with the Beauty and the Beast, though, there is an additional story, additional layer to it, which to me is one of the most important messages of all in the Beauty and the Beast, is, the Enchantress warned him not to be deceived by appearances, for beauty is found within. And so that is a huge, especially for twin flames, anybody out there, it's self-love and our finding of beauty within ourselves too, as we journey, as we learn. Some of these I have 2. Oh yeah, you guys got 2. Okay, so you have 2 fairy tale stories, because Beauty and the Beast wasn't in this fairy tale deck, this Lenormand deck, but Grimoire, the book, makes, and Brothers Grimm, wrote a lot of these fairy tales that have sort of twisted. That's the other thing. When anybody says, oh, love is not like a fairy tale, I'm like, have you watched any fairy tales lately, or read any? Let's put it that way, because some of the old versions of fairy tales, quite harsh sometimes, and with really deep and strong and upsetting messages in some ways, But yeah, it puts things in perspective to me, and there's usually morals and story. There's a story behind the story. There's usually some kind of lesson learned that when you're going through this situation. The book also, though, to me represents this yearning, this thirst for whatever she's reading, she's like, I want some of that I'm reading, you know, I want to experience these things. So those of us who are like really have been into books, hello me, and you know, we, you know, when you know, you're in the comfort of your own home and you're reading books and you want to adventure out, books is sometimes about is like the closest way that you can get. Of course, movies too, but books are better, right? And closest way to get to that, and also gain knowledge and all those things. But there's nothing that really beats actually physically going out there and experiencing life and having those experiences. So when you have those experiences, though, then what happens? Then you have a lot of choices to make. You have roads and pathways to choose from, and where are you going to go? What are you going to do? You know, what are those choices for you? So I'll look into those stories in a minute, but I just want to show you have guided steps to great love here. Follow the path of ascension. You and your person are ascending, and just by being together, this is a path. This is a bigger story. This is a destiny for you. It's an unexpected connection, much like the Beauty and the Beast. Opposites are attracting here for a reason, for a purpose. To learn what the other has is what you're seeking, is what helps to complete you and helps fill in those missing parts of yourself that you need to learn about in order to feel completely whole about yourself, you know. All right, and from the my little Disney Princess Lenormand, you have a connection, a very strong connection here for sure, and a visitor could be on the way for you. So a visitor and a connection. All right, so as far as the book is concerned, like I said, books can be, it's a little bit about mystery. So when it comes to fairy tales are written down in books, romance novels. That was my fairy tale, you know. It also represents secrets and studies and knowledge. The book of all tales of all peoples of the world, you know, that's what that represents. Fairy tales have been told person to person, tribe to tribe, and family to family for as long as we can remember. This is the universal teaching method of the world. Read a fairy tale to learn the knowledge of a people. Here you see the quintessential grimoire of the magic worker. Research, secrets, and investigation are the message of the book. When you crack the cover, you will find a treasury of magic, mysteries, and more. We've even chosen to honor Grimm brothers in our spelling. Like they did, you will find that research is called for if this card falls close to your question. And I did research today, which was fun. And there may be secrets yet to be revealed about this connection that you're in here with your person. And who knows what phase you are in yet. You know, you still might be in the very early stages where, you know, it's interesting because I was just listening to music from Disney music from Alan Menken, and there's two songs that didn't make it in the Disney movie, but that are in the Broadway play. One, Belle is singing about home, and she is right after the Beast is just so mean to her and saying, yeah, your dad can go, but you have to take his place. And she's all upset, and she's like, you're such a monster. She's talking to herself, what a monster, you know, I'm here taking the place of my father. Is this home? And anyway, it's a beautiful song. And then at the same time, the Beast has a song about you know, no one can love me. Look at me, I'm a beast, you know. So she calls him, you know, in her mind, she's seeing him as a beast, and in his mind, he's seeing himself as a beast. And he's thinking, you know, no beauty could love me. Even this beautiful person who has a heart of gold, how could she even love me, you know? And I must just give up on this quest and trying to find somebody who can love me. And so those are some early phases sometimes of this relationship, or could have been for you if you've been there, or even beyond the relationship, you know, and before you even met, you know, and maybe that's why you met each other, because your journey above all other people's has to do with this self-love, loving yourself and loving the and seeing yourself as beauty, no matter what you are on the outside, right? And so that is definitely the big, the big message here in this one. And there may be secrets, like I said, yet to be revealed. There's symbols flow out of this book, and but can you grasp them, or they float away? I see a lot of both the masculine and the feminine, but specifically the feminines, kind of like the high priestess here, like really trying to learn spiritual messages and really doing their inner work, and because the feminines are doing their inner work, they're definitely helping their masculines along the way, because you are the guiding light. You are the light. You represent the light. So when the book opens, know that you have that you don't have all the facts yet, but they are still coming to you, and secrets will be gradually revealed, and more knowledge will be come out, and you are the student of your own life, and you're getting this information. You're preparing to receive the information. It also represents material success too, that comes from acquiring knowledge. So there is this sense of security, and you might be coming into a masculine side of yourself, a feeling of being secure within your own life, where you may come to the conclusion, well, maybe I don't need the masculine because I feel fine by myself. But then crosswords happen. So this is about path taken, decisions and directions and choices. It is like the quintessential motive in many of the fairy tales. The hero or the heroine is made, to make a crucial point. In The Beauty and the Beast, a serious crucial point comes when Belle chooses to stay in place of her father. Another crucial point is when the Beast decides to save her from the wolves. And another crucial point is when the Beast decides to release her to save her father. So all these real pivotal moments in the story, and maybe things that you've experienced too, very pivotal, crucial decisions and choices are part of your journey here. Which direction will be the best for you? There are many hidden faces here. See, we got mystery in the choices too. These are your subconscious thoughts helping you make the most of this card. Do you take the left or the right path? You must weigh all possibilities to make the right decision. This card won't give you all the answers, but the nearby ones might help clarify the situation. And I feel like the book is still more mystery, but with knowledge gains. With more knowledge gains, helps you gain your clarity on which way to go. So pay attention to all the options you have available for you. The closer the card represents you, then the more time sensitive the decision is. Sometimes the worst thing we can do is not make any decision at all. All right? So that's a big one. Standing perfectly still. You still have made a choice. And it's like when you choose not to do anything, you still have made a choice. And sometimes that's the most harmful choice, So don't choose not to choose out of fear. Don't let fear get in the way. So let's see what your charms have to say. All right. Okay. So we've got Beauty and the Beast, so divine masculine and the divine feminine in transition phase. And here we have them under the chandelier, one of the sweetest moments between the Beauty and the Beast, besides when he says, I love her, I love you, and he transforms into a prince. But this moment, it's like, this when that infamous song, Tale as Old as Time, comes on, and Mrs. Potts is singing how, they weren't prepared to fall in love, and suddenly this happened. They each bent a little bit and allowed room for each other to grow and see each other's point of view, and related to each other, and started to mirror each other and see how it, what to do next, how they belong together. Here you have Codsworth. But time and divine timing is going to be real important to your situation. And I feel that this fairy here represents the Enchantress. This is kind of like spirit, the higher guides, directing and guiding you. They could be the ones that are on that path to show you which way to go. The beast, you know, to me represents the lion and, you know, the strength card and things that have to do with the lion. But the lion also, I feel that the lion, okay, it's kind of interesting because, you know, in the Wizard of Oz, he's considered the cowardly lion, but yet the cowardly lion was brave, right? After all, like, he didn't need a certificate to say that you're brave. He ended up being brave anyway. But at the same time, the cowardly lion did, like, run back, grab his tail, cry, and things like that. You know, so they're going, you know, even within this journey of this masculine finding his courage and making difficult choices and things like that, there are going to be times where there are going to be setbacks. There are going to be times where fear creeps in again. There's going to be times when doubts creep in again. So keep that in mind. But before the last petal falls, they will find their union and their ability to be together. There is a twin flame relationship here, but that can also represent children and wounded children and healing a wounded child heart, because in the live action movie, which I also like very much, you get to explore their childhood wounds, with Belle without her mother and the Beast with a very restrictive father, and him always trying to please his father, which gives us a little clue to his character and why he's the way he is. You have Love and Kiss and Ever and Star. So like I said in Rapunzel, kisses are real important for sealing the deal and transitioning to that next phase in your relationship. And then this was kind of like, this was very similar to the traditional Rapunzel story where her prince is blind and she cries into his eyes and then he's healed. Well, the Beast is about to die because the petals are falling, and then she finally whispers, "I love you," as she's crying on him. So that water energy too, like, is healing, and love is healing. There's Jack Skellington, which is also, is that Disney? Or I think Pixar and Disney kind of work together. But anyway, there's Jack Skellington is a curious character here. You know, he's outside the mold. He's an unexpected connection. He's outside of the usual. But these two hearts they have the key to each other. Like, they are united. They're in union together. So there is going to be a union coming up. And there's music here. And here we have the rose, the flower, which represents a timing issue, right? There is going to be a specific timing issue, but there's a lot of this is still in mystery, in the unknown. This represents the book of love and the book of knowledge and the book of secrets. And so much of this story is still unknown and all dependent on timing. And then, like the traditional, or like the Disney movie, when the Beast and Belle make their transition and find love in each other and live happily ever after, will they have a new dream? Will they share their dream with the world? Well, we'll wait and find out. All right, if you like that, thumbs up. Feel free to comment below. Let me know if there's anything that I was missing that you needed to know about your pile that you chose. Oh, but do come back tomorrow and watch the messages from your person, because I'm going to use all these cards. So I'll have 5 choices and messages from your person, and choose. I would recommend, but you can choose whichever one you want. I would recommend the secret pile that you used. Like, that's what this is. It's like I use these envelopes so you wouldn't know, so you would be guided by your hearts. All right, I'm going to move on to the next. Okay, here's pile number 4. So I have to keep track of the numbers here because I don't usually do this many piles. Let's see, what couple are you? mystery envelope. So first we have she who emerges, Kamala, enlightenment, mindfulness, rise up. So there's this rising up feeling. Let's see who's rising up here. Ah, yes, Jasmine and Aladdin. I feel like, so your story has to do with Aladdin, and Jasmine is basically his counterpart. The story is named Aladdin, but it definitely has to do with both of them and their connection to each other and how their relationship helps both of them grow. And so Aladdin and Jasmine, it's is a lot about, it's not what's on the outside, but what's on the inside that counts. You know, we have a little bit of that in Beauty and the Beast as well, but deeper with Aladdin and Jasmine because they focus more about status than appearance, right, or beauty. They're focused on material wealth a little bit too, and their different relationships to material wealth. And Jasmine says to help Aladdin, she says, if you look hard enough, you can see how much we are all alike, you know? So that kind of helps put things into perspective for Aladdin. We're a lot along the way. A lot of things that Aladdin faces along the way puts things in perspective to him. Also, they both have, you know, a desire for ruling. Possibly, it's not so much that Aladdin wants to rule, but he wants to appear like a ruler, you know. And Jasmine appears wealthy, but she wants to actually have the ability to it, the clout behind it, the laws be in her favor, that she can actually enforce them, the ability to enforce these things. So that's how I see her, as this kind of enlightened, mindful person rising up. That's the live action meaning of this anyway, because in the Disney animated version, Jasmine is a great character who goes through her own, you know, her own journey as well, but her journey is very linked with his journey, and helping him to see that he's good enough as he is, you know, his self-love. All right, so let's see what else. So we have the Magician. The Magician is really cool. It's like, makes me think of the genie. It makes me think of power. It makes me think of, be careful what you wish for, and be careful how you use your power. Yeah, because be careful what you wish for. Very much like the monkey's paw. Like Aladdin had 3 wishes, and you know, some of the reason why the story turned out so good for him is because he was wise on how he used his wishes. Although initially not, he was wise on how he used his last wish. Let's put it that way. His last wish was unselfish, which was a good. That was definitely the right motivation, out of an unselfish behavior. Just how he starts off the movie as a diamond in the rough. His motivation, even though he's stealing, is to help a poor child. So he has the right motivations. It's learning how to use the tools at hand to bring about the best situation without overusing power or manipulating people, but doing it all for the benefit of, you know, for the higher benefit, for the good of all. And then we have the world. So a whole new world. They, you know, adventure is definitely what they both seek. Definitely what Jasmine seeks. And so it's, and here, these 2 cards together really beautiful, because when at one point in the, you know, in the movie, he has the ability to show her or give her what she wants as a gift. And so that's also a beautiful, unselfish thing, although he had a lot of fun out of it too. You know, he got to win the girl's hearts by you know, giving her this gift of seeing the world outside the castle. And And there's also this beautiful fulfillment and completion here. It's interesting in Rapunzel, she's at the end, she's given the choice to rule a kingdom, and also at the end of this story as well, for Jasmine, especially in the live action, she has now the choice to rule the kingdom, but she takes that on as an amazing adventure. The material rulership is an adventure for her, and besides, they have a magic carpet, and anytime they wanted to travel, they could go out and about. Oh my goodness. So we have for your Lenormand, we have the ring. Somebody here might be getting engaged maybe, but I'm going to let you know more about that in a minute. You have disguise. Some elements of this relationship are hidden. So wherever you are in your relationship, you could be at any of the phases. You could be at the beginning, like out and about town, or Jasmine is she's the one hidden and pretending to be a poor person, and you know, Aladdin swoops in to save her because she's vulnerable. Because of her action, she's going to get herself into trouble, and so he tries to help her. Or you could be in the phase where he's trying to impress the princess and show off and be something that he's not, and Jasmine's like, that don't impress me much. So wherever you are in your phase, there is a hidden element at this moment, maybe between the two of you in your phase of connecting. So your person might be trying to impress you, or wherever you see yourself, or you might be trying to explore undercover, maybe you're trying to figure things out without being recognized. Some of you out there that could be connecting with a famous person here as well. All right, but you have bonding. So as you get to know each other, you discover many things in common. So yeah, like no matter how you get to know each other, whether it's a magic carpet ride or a text or DMs or social media kind of thing, or bumping into each other, or hanging out, or school, or church, or I don't know why I said church, but maybe, or work. You're strengthening these bonds. The more and more you're together, the more you like it. Okay. So our Disney Princess Lenormand, we have unlock. And fame. See, I knew there was a famous person here. There is somebody that has a little bit of notoriety, and and maybe both parties involved do, or maybe one more than the other. But whoever has more than the other, it can sometimes be a little daunting. I feel that the person who has the fame here could, if it's it doesn't matter. Whoever has the fame here might like to go undercover sometimes, disguise themselves in order to mingle with the common folk or whatever, like to get to know her person better, Or if there is, or that's one aspect. But also, maybe one person here could also want to match the other person's fame by like trying to impress them and constantly, either try to get their attention, or do gift giving or show off or things like that to gain attention, to show that they stand out among the crowd as well. So a little bit, I see maybe possibly a little bit more like that kind of dynamic here. Let me see what now the ring talks about. So the ring it's like a commitment, you guys. Contract, obligation, a legal document, duty, and engagement. So in the traditional Aladdin and the Magic Lamp, rather than a romantic icon in the Lenormand system, this card stands for duty, among other things. And there's also a lot of variations on Aladdin and the 40 Thieves and all of that. This card stands, so here the princess in Aladdin's tale has been forced to marry her obligation to her country. This marriage is a duty-based event rather than one of heart. And some of you might be going through some of those kinds of issues too, like religion and cultural decisions and obstacles and things too. Fortunately for her, Aladdin has contracted with a man he thinks is his uncle, but it's an evil magician. Aladdin has been given the job of going into a magical cave, so he's like the diamond in the rough, right? He finds the lamp and refuses to give it to the magician who traps him. Aladdin is stuck there until he rubs the lamp. The genie appears, granting Aladdin 3 wishes. With those 3 wishes, he's able to marry the princess, turning the marriage contract into a love match. When the ring turns up, remember about duty and obligations. This can be a warning to pay attention to contracts that you signed or are about to sign. Don't sign if there are warning signs, if you're not sure about it. We don't have any other cards that say anything. I could flip one, but if you're smart, you can turn on an unpleasant duty into something more meaningful like Aladdin did. But I feel like your situation definitely is a love situation, but I'm just curious. Let's see if there's anything around it that's gonna... You're the only one that I'm doing this for. But I kind of got long-winded on some of the others. Okay, so we got Foxy. So be careful of people trying to be manipulative as well. You got the Coffin. I feel like the Coffin represents kind of a suspended period before you can move on to this committed situation. And then there could be a child here, or a childlike person, or a childish person, you know. And like with every fairy tale, we have our karmics, you know, and karmic is not necessarily a person, it can be a situation. So for you, it could be location, it could be long distance, it could be cultural issues, it could be you know, the fact that you're hiding so much and it's time to come clean, you know, to come clear. And for you, it could have to do with a childish, crafty person, or it could have to do with this feeling of not being able to move, like feeling not like it's safe to step out of your comfort zone, or whatever the issue could be here. But there's definitely blocks and things that come along in your journey, in all fairy tales too, that are part of your growth, you know, and that's what you need to help. It's part of your evolution, and helps you step up and defend yourself and put yourself in a position of strength, and also see underneath your layers and find out who you really are. Through this, you're unlocking this who you really are. And yeah, all right, so there's some truth going to be revealed, and then eventually you guys probably will get to a commitment, or get to a... You will have the committed relationship. All right, let's see. You've got Jasmine and Aladdin. And you've got the genie who's given you the 3 wishes. And this is all about power. So sometimes you might actually, just like a dream, sometimes you're more than just the onlooker of your dream. Sometimes you're the characters in your dream. So just like in the movie Aladdin, or the, you know, stories of Aladdin, you can see yourself in your counterpart. You know, if you're Aladdin, you can see yourself in Jasmine, the other way around. You can both see yourself in the genie. And what would you do if you had this power, or whatever? You might see yourself in the carpet. I don't know. Carpet's like the mode of transportation. It also represents magic to me. I feel like, though, this connection does have a lot of, like, money behind it too. Like, whatever you decide, there's going to be a lot of value, a lot of financial success in this, in coming together here. And here we have the diamond, which represents that Aladdin is a diamond in the rough, you know. It's like he has a pure heart. He has a good spirit. He just has so much to figure out about himself. Also, what I find really interesting is we have, even if, let's say, the feminine here, Jasmine, is the poor person, or not the non-famous person, she is equal to her masculine. They are the same, you know. They both have this fame quality about them. So like, they have, what I'm trying to say is they have equal amounts of worth, and they both need to see themselves as worthy to achieve success, worthy to achieve greatness, to have financial wealth, and achieve their goals. They're very connected. These two are very like two of a kind, more than any of the other couples. They're very, have so many things, like similarities. They're very mirroring here. And then we have Prince Ali on the, it's almost like in the movie, Jasmine is the rich girl, right? It's almost like she represents Aladdin in the beginning of the movie, you know, and he represents her, her freedom in the beginning of the movie, you know. So they really do like reflect each other's desires, and they find each other, you know, in each other, their destiny and their goals and what they want. You know, they are they're CEOs. Are co-rulers here. They're the Empress and Emperor energy. What they need to do is let down their mask, but it's almost like they don't need to. I mean, they do. They should, for the world, is what they should, to be honest to the world, because their masks are up, not for each other necessarily, but they're up for the world. But with each other, they're very honest and pure with each other. They really are very honest and true about it. But for some reason, there's this reputation for others that are seeing them, that they keep this mask up, this disguise to the world. But they're definitely, like, this is a twin flame couple. This is a really connected couple. They're so connected that it's like they're whispering secrets to each other. It's like an inside joke. And then, like all of these, we have our, you know, sidekicks. And Monkey represents joy and happiness and dexterity and getting around and intelligence and being able to rely at least on an outside source once in a while for help. And all of these also have like this higher power, you know, the divine power. All of these fairy tales have some kind of star, some kind of god or goddess, some kind of light energy, divine energy that's helping them. So I feel like the genie kind of represents that too in this. Then you have the world and a love and an idea. So next phase for you guys might be like coming up with some ideas, what to do next, you know. I feel like you guys are on the same page. At least you're communicating somewhat, somehow. Like you are conspiring together. But in the bigger picture, though, you're still got your masks on, and so you have to find the way to be your authentic selves and take your masks off and connect with the world at large, because that's important too. You know, your relationship with the world will propel you to your higher goals, and then, you know, you just keep going from there. Okay, well, I hope you like that one. Thumbs up if you like that. Feel free to comment below. Let me know which ones resonated, if you pick more than one. And yeah, and remember that you had Jasmine and Aladdin, so tomorrow when I do messages from your person, you can go to that card if you want to. All right, I'm going to move on to the next. If there's anything you need, check out the description box. And thank you. If you're new to the channel, please be a subscriber. I appreciate it. And if you're a subscriber, thank you for coming by. And big hugs and kisses to the people who join. I'll shout you out. I don't have too much time to shout you out, but I love you. Mwah. Okay, moving on to the next. Okay, and finally, we have our pile number 5. Let's see what we got for you. All right. So we have I'm laughing because I know what this is, and I just was thinking of a video I just posted recently. So we have She Who Becomes, Eterna, Metamorphosis, Transcend, and Journey. She's not a mermaid, but she definitely has a flowing kind of thing, and it looks like maybe how the mermaid looks after she gets her legs, right? Right. So I'll just spoil it. We've got Ariel and Eric, the Little Mermaid. All right. So yeah, the Hanged Man represents Pisces and that water symbol, and a bit of sacrifice and suspension. And I feel like you could be right now in a suspended period in your situation. You could be making choices about what to do next, and maybe you're willing to make a choice that you know in your heart is not a good idea, but you so desperately want, say, this union with your person or whatever, and you're willing to make some kind of sacrifice for it. But that might not always be the best thing to do. The second message of the Hanged Man is, if you stay here a certain amount of time and you meditate, you will get an epiphany. You will be enlightened, and you may see things from a whole different point of view, and might not go that dark path that you're feeling so inclined to go. And then here we have the Ten of Pentacles. So you are definitely going to achieve your happily ever after. And I think probably because of making wise decisions and letting, and not rushing it, and letting it sink in the timing, play its course, everything happening at the right time for the right reasons. And yeah, so you'll have your happily ever after with abundance, with legacy, with kids, and all of that. And then we have the Anchor. I'll read about that a little bit in a minute. And you have benefit of the doubt, give your relationship a chance. And magnetism, there is a gravitational pull to each other. So there could be a party or some kind of place where you just are zapped together, where you can't seem to part. And that will definitely be something that's coming up in the future. But for some reason, there has been some doubt in one or the other of your minds about the connection. Something wobbled. There was a wobble of some sort, some kind of uncertainty, some kind of fear, or lack mentality, or whatever it is, and it kind of threw you into this sort of doubt phase. And so that's why Spirit is coming by to tell you, give your relationship a chance. And so the moment that you do, the moment that you allow this to open up again, the magnetism starts. And you too, like, go back to the meaning behind all of the fairy tales is what's meant to be will be, right? Destiny has its course, and if you are meant to be together, nothing can come in the way. Like the gravity between you, the tractor beam, this magnet that pulls you together will bring you together no matter what outside forces try to keep pulling you apart. So I feel like even if it's your own doubts, even if it's something within you, your own hesitancy, your own fears, your own lack mentality, you're going to be able to overcome it and achieve this connection. So your Princess Lenormand says deep talks and admiration. So that's, the Little Mermaid story is very sweet. She's one of the things she says is, who says my dreams have to stay just dreams? So she has sort of this yearning, like she wants to be where the people are. She wants to try things. Above all, she loves and admires Prince Eric, and so that propels her, that ignites her to take chances and risks, which that part of her story is very wonderful. She's not hiding behind the garden gate. She is willing to take a risk in order to get what she wants, you know. But, you know, she has a lot of friends too along the way that help her. She has sidekicks like Flounder, and she has the wise crabs like Sebastian and or Lobster. And you know, all these fairy tales have like this kind of star energy, this spirit energy. She has her very brave father, and she has her very connected sisters. But there, you know, there is always going to be this kind of higher force. There's the darker force like Ursula, and that's why I was laughing, because I just did an Ursula song for everybody. But Sebastian, one of the good guys, one of the positive influences in her situation, is says, you know, you're not, you know, you got your own style. Now let it shine through, and remember, no matter what, you gotta be you. so so there is the downside of Jasmine, of Little Mermaid, of Ariel, is thinking she has to be different in order to win his heart, that she has to have legs. Part of the reason why she wants to have legs is for the adventure, but part of the reason why she wants to have legs is to fit in and be part of his world and be like the other people, that, and maybe he will pay attention to her and choose her. And so the warning and the message here is, don't be anything other than yourself. Be who you are, you know, stay true to yourself. Yeah, you admire this person really greatly, but how can you have deep talks if you don't have a voice? I mean, really. So hold on to that voice, because you're going to need it, because you need to communicate. Ariel, above all the other girls, really needs to keep her voice so she can communicate. So the anchor here is talking about settling down and stability and security. And this one is cute. That shows all her like belongings under the water and everything, all the gold and jewels. Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? You know, she collects things, and she has such admiration for the above world. She's not really focusing on what she already has, you know. So that's another thing, another message too to take into consideration. The Little Mermaid has a goal of finding her one true love. That's the prince who represents the harbor she is seeking. There is also a note of being stuck, which is, you know, stuck, a little stuck, is what happens to our mermaid when she learns that there will be a sacrifice for love to work. She accepts that she needs to be grounded in order to achieve the stability she is seeking. The treasures around this anchor reflect the rewards that will come with this safe place that she has discovered. When the anchor appears, look at what area of your life it's providing stability for. An anchor that has several cards nearby, depending on the cards nearby, would indicate something's not steady or needs further support. So, like, I'm going to give you an extra card too, just like I did pile 4. Let's see what else you need help with. Okay, letter. So communication, right? And reaching out. And so you guys are about to, somebody's going to reach out to you, or you're going to reach out to them. But communication is key. Having these deep talks will solidify and make this situation so much better, and make you feel safe within your relationship. And because I feel like you have all the elements there, and the ultimate goal is going to be a happily ever after, and you have a beautiful, yeah, you have a beautiful chemistry and a beautiful connection. Ariel and Eric, you know, I feel like Eric is one of those lazy princes, right? That he doesn't have much to his story, but it does show that in the end, you know, he did fight for her whenever, you know, even though she was making sacrifices to be with him, in the end, he did fight the sea witch so he could protect her and care about her. But just realize there are going to be men sometimes out there that can be manipulated, and sometimes will fall for, you know, trickery or something like that. And you can't always help those situations, all you can do is be true to yourself. So continue to be who you are, your authentic self. No matter what the masculine goes through in the situation, he has to find his own way too, and learn his lessons about not always believing what he sees, but in learning more about the situation. All right, let's see your charms. I love how a lot of you guys are liking the revving cars as they drove by. It's like, well, I'm glad. I'm glad it's not bothering you too much. So here, like I said, you got Flounder, who is, you're going to have you have a confidant at least. Somebody who loves you unconditionally, no matter what, and is always by your side. Remember those people that are like that, and know that that's how you should love yourself, and that's how your person should love you too. But even if they don't show signs of that at first, or some things can be disguised, or you can have doubts about things, they will be revealed. But yeah, your friends definitely, Sebastian too, he's got some good advice. Listen to people who are like-minded, who are elevated, who have, wisdom, and you'll recognize those people. They have something important to say, and they'll say things that will guide you in the right direction, okay? You are a deep and beautiful person. You have your own wisdom. If you really want to tap into your higher self, tap into your intuition. There you are. Speak your voice, sing your song. Don't be afraid and don't be shy. The second Ariel is the one who gives up, who not gives up, who trades in her tail, for her legs or whatever. And this is too, I feel like, you're very brave, yes, but sometimes you give up too much. Don't give up too much of yourself. Be the Ariel that sings her song and speaks her mind, and is brave. Now here we got sing, and we got love, and we have kiss. Like in all of these fairy tales, kisses like really seal the deal, make a huge transformation. They change things. Kiss was very important in Little Mermaid. Sebastian is trying to get them to kiss because he knows that will break the spell and help bring them together. But yet, there's still these obstacles in the way. And, if they could get past these obstacles and show their love for each other, then the spell is broken. It takes Eric a little while to figure it out, but at least he does, and eventually he does come to the conclusion that he needs to kiss the girl. Here's an example. Like this is I know is Kristoff, but it makes me think of the statue of Eric, like collecting things. There's collections are nice and material things are nice, but the things that are not real, they're not real, right? They're these items that you might collect don't replace the actual thing, and so don't put so much importance on material things. Put the importance on the real deal, on the real feelings, on the truth of the matter. But you definitely have the key, or do you have a dingle hopper? I don't know. Like, are you brushing your hair with your fork? Look, here you go again. The kiss seals the deal. So I feel like a kiss, if you haven't kissed your person, a kiss is coming. You love singing, and you're going to see the world above the water. You will explore. You know what? You will transform, but you won't have to give up anything. Your transformation will go from the inside out, and it will be a beautiful transformation. It won't be about, like losing weight to win the guy. It won't be about any plastic surgery to win the guy or whatever. It will be about being the best you could possibly be and having a total glow up from the inside out. And that's what your transformation will be. And then you have the wheel, like the captain's wheel of this ship. You guys are going through lots of cycles and phases in your situation. But if you look really careful, it says love, love, love all the way around. And you're connection is a love connection, and it's like you're ready to face this storm. Like, this kind of makes me think of steering the wheel at the end and facing the big storm of earth that Ursula creates, this outside forces that seem to be getting in the way, which could really just be your own catastrophizing sometimes, you know. So I mean, sometimes they're little doubts, and sometimes they're big, blown up out of the proportion kind of ideas in your head. Don't let them get too big so that they're so scary. You have, you know, heart of gold, your beautiful diamond, your beautiful ruby. Rubies were used to under foundations to make the structure stronger and stand the test of time. And here we get the fishy. So yeah, rely on your friends. There's a deep love here. You will find your stability. You will find your anchor. You will find your anchor in your home, and your home within each other, and you will feel loved. So the final outcome for you definitely is a commitment and love. But wow, you're gonna go, I feel like you're gonna go through, I don't see any tower cards here, but it feels a little bit like a storm if you let it. And maybe this reading will help you avoid it, because here you got the benefit of the doubt. And so if you allow each other the benefit of the doubt, you're going to skip a lot of difficult storm moments and get straight to the magnetism, where you're drawn back to each other, get back to deep talks and communication, and you're drawn back to each other. So you can avoid all the difficult stuff. And maybe that's why sometimes spirit keeps you in a suspended place for a little while, so you can have the time to work through these feelings and get to the point where you're ready to communicate again, so you don't have to have the shakeup. Okay, so I don't see any bad stuff for you guys. I see happily ever after. And yeah, but just remember, you know, have faith in each other. You'll be fine. Your dreams can come true. They don't have to stay dreams. Also, like, I just love how, you know, mermaids and fish and Pisces all connect to the dream world too. So a lot of your clues could be in the dreams as well. So pay attention to your dreams to help guide you too in your waking life, and see what to do next. All right, well, thumbs up if you like that. Feel free to comment below. This is a little bit long one, but I had 5 piles, so what was I gonna do? Anyway, and tomorrow when I do message from your person, I'm gonna use all 5 of these cards to choose from. So you might want to choose your Ariel and Eric card to see what your message is, or not. Pick a different one if you want to. Before I go, I'm just going to give you a big hug. Thank you so much, subscribers. And if you're a visitor, appreciate you stopping by. Please feel free to subscribe. And for all my members, I love you so much. Thank you, Platinum Pixie, Lupe C, and Claudia Lane, Golden Fairy, Leo Sunchild, Twin Flames, Louisa Silva. I'm gonna do your reading in a minute now. Full of Faithers, Wolfie, Wesley, Sunny King, Anastasia, Wild Owl Rose, Sparkles of Light, Kim, AA, Sachi, Claire, Patricia, Valeska, Jaden, Chrissy, Jessica D, Jessica Johnson, Mona, Amanda, and Brian. And thank you, Patreon, Sylvie, Trini, and Melanie. Go check out my Patreon page. I'm posting things over there. I'm so excited about my new Lenormand and doing my own artwork. And I feel now like this reading has inspired me to do more and more of my own artwork. And yeah, so go check that out. And you can see my artwork on Instagram as well. And more readings on TikTok too, little short ones. But most everything I repost on YouTube and Instagram. So you have lots of platforms to check things out. So yeah, thank you all so much for being part of this, and I will see you next time. Faith, Trust, and Pixie Dust.